Hello, and a warm welcome to LearnEnglishPodcast.com, your dedicated channel for mastering the English language through focused practice, proven strategies, and an engaging community. I'm Wason, thrilled to share my many years of teaching experience with all of you as we dive into the fascinating realm of speaking English at a faster pace.
Hello everyone, I'm Lydia, and I'm equally excited to explore how we can speak English quickly yet clearly. If you've ever been unsure about whether speaking fast automatically makes you sound smarter, or if you've worried about clarity issues, this discussion will clarify why speed is a powerful language tool.
From my experience, people often regard quick talkers as more dynamic and assured. In politics, media, and motivational speaking, a certain level of rapid articulation captivates listeners. However, I always emphasize that speed alone can't replace good pronunciation, engaging intonation, and a strong grasp of vocabulary and sentence structure.
That's a crucial point. The perception of intelligence isn't strictly tied to how rapidly you speak, but rather to the sense of confidence and clarity you convey. When learners fixate on speed alone, they risk mumbling or confusing their audience. Today, we'll highlight techniques to keep pace while staying coherent.
Let's start by addressing the most common obstacles facing English learners who want to speed up their speech. First, many individuals overthink their sentences, translating word for word from their native tongue. This mental translation process slows everything down, creating a big barrier to developing a swift and natural speaking rhythm.
Yes, and fear of making mistakes is also significant. People worry they'll say something wrong, so they speak slowly to check every detail mentally. But ironically, focusing too much on perfection often leads to more hesitation. Embracing small errors can actually give you the freedom to speak more fluidly.
Another major hurdle is pronunciation. English has a wealth of distinct sounds, sometimes unfamiliar to learners. Additionally, there are contractions like I'm, he's, we're, and reduced phrases like gonna or wanna. Mastering these makes speech faster and more native-like. If you avoid them, your pace might stay artificially slow.
A related challenge involves not knowing common phrases and idiomatic expressions. If every sentence requires deep deliberation, it's tough to maintain a quick tempo. Memorizing chunks, patterns, and set expressions, like let's get started or I'd love to, allows you to respond immediately. This technique builds automaticity and saves mental energy.
Exactly. And let's not forget the importance of actual speaking practice. Learners who only read or listen may have strong receptive skills but still struggle to produce sentences fluently. Using your voice regularly, whether in a classroom, conversation club, or solo recording, helps your brain coordinate words at a faster rate.
Let's remind our listeners that they're tuned into LearnEnglishPodcast.com. It's essential to practice consistently because speaking quickly is a skill you develop over time. Now, Wason, shall we jump into our core strategies to help our audience speak with greater speed without sacrificing clarity?
Absolutely. Strategy number 1 is to train your mind to think in English rather than translating. Even simple mental notes like describing your surroundings in English while commuting can help. If you automatically form English phrases, you eliminate that gap caused by searching for equivalent words in your first language.
Yes, I recommend starting each morning by narrating small tasks to yourself in English. Simple statements like, I'm making coffee, or I'll read the news now, slowly build into more complex thoughts. Over time, this direct approach conditions your brain to access English vocabulary swiftly and naturally.
A second powerful tactic is the practice known as shadowing. You pick a short audio clip of native speakers, maybe 15 or 30 seconds, and listen carefully. Then, you immediately repeat what they said, matching their pronunciation, speed, and intonation. It might feel difficult initially, but persistence pays off in remarkable ways.
I completely agree. Shadowing not only trains your mouth to replicate English sounds, but also helps your brain adapt to the rhythm and pace of fluent speech. Over time, you'll internalize essential patterns, making it far easier to speak at a quicker pace without pausing for mental rewrites.
We should also highlight the importance of contractions and connected speech. For instance, native speakers rarely say, "I am going to go now." Instead, they'll say, "I'm gonna go now." These shortcuts are integral to real-world English. Adopting them will boost your speed and keep your speech more authentic.
Indeed, and another method is to learn sentence patterns in bulk. Consider frameworks like, "I'm wondering if," or "How about we?" By internalizing these, you can insert different nouns, verbs, or objects without reconstructing entire sentences. This helps you speak quickly and with less cognitive load.
Daily out-loud practice is crucial. You can read news articles, short stories, or even social media posts in English at a faster pace to push your comfort zone. Record yourself if possible, then listen back to identify areas of improvement in pacing, pronunciation, or filler words.
One of my favorite exercises is the 30-second challenge. You set a timer and speak on a chosen topic without stopping. If you get stuck, keep going anyway. The goal isn't flawless grammar, but continuous speaking. It helps your mind adjust to producing English under slight pressure.
Yes, and you can extend that challenge to a full minute when 30 seconds becomes easier. The key principle is training your brain to think quickly and form cohesive sentences on the spot, instead of pausing to mentally translate or second-guess every word.
Another highly effective tactic is speed reading aloud. Grab a newspaper article or a paragraph from your favorite book. Set a 1-minute timer and read out loud as fast as you can without compromising clarity. It helps your tongue and mind synchronize, gradually raising your comfort level with faster speech.
Additionally, the Think Fast, Speak Fast game is a blast. With friends or classmates, choose a random word, like pizza or technology, and speak about it instantly for 10 or 15 seconds. No prep time. This spontaneous practice hones your ability to formulate sentences quickly, which is a great fluency booster.
Yes, I love that approach. It's also fun to do storytelling exercises where you must incorporate 3 random words into a quick narrative. For instance, blending ocean, laptop, and pineapple into one story. The creative challenge forces you to think on your feet and prevents you from defaulting to your native language.
These games and exercises keep practice interesting, which is important for consistency. Now, let's address some common mistakes people make when trying to speak faster. First on the list is losing clarity by rushing too much. If listeners can't understand you, speed no longer serves any communicative purpose.
Precisely. A second mistake involves overusing filler words like like, or, you know. Under pressure to speak quickly, learners fill the gaps with these sounds. Instead, I suggest pausing briefly to gather your next thought. A small silence often comes across as more confident than incessant ums.
That's right. Not pausing at the correct junctures is another issue. Even if you speak fast, you must insert breaks at natural points in your sentences. Otherwise, it becomes one long blur of words. Pauses guide your listener through your main ideas, making your overall message more compelling.
Absolutely. And ignoring intonation is also problematic. English has a distinct melody, with stresses on important words and a pitch that rises and falls. A monotone rush may sound robotic or confusing. By maintaining expressive intonation, you keep the listener engaged and demonstrate a more native-like command of English.
So, to summarize those pitfalls, don't sacrifice clarity just to be quick. Reduce filler words by using strategic pauses. Remember to pause between meaningful ideas and maintain strong intonation. All these elements work together to ensure that your faster speech is both understandable and appealing.
Yes, and now we should reiterate for everyone. You're listening to LearnEnglishPodcast.com, the place where we break down each aspect of language mastery. We understand how important it is to apply these concepts in everyday life, so let's move on to ways you can integrate them.
Let's talk about real-life application, starting with consistent daily practice. Even if you only have 10 or 15 minutes, use that time to speak out loud, record voice notes, or engage in a quick conversation. Incremental steps every day far outperform big study sessions once a month.
Indeed. Another great method is narrating your routine. For example, describe in English how you're making breakfast or preparing to head out for work. These seemingly mundane descriptions reinforce vocabulary and sentence patterns. Because you do these tasks every day, you get repeat practice, which accelerates the learning process.
Voice journaling can also be beneficial. Record yourself summarizing your day or reflecting on a topic you find interesting. Once finished, listen to the playback. Pinpoint where you hesitated, which words slowed you down, and whether you sounded rushed or cluttered. Then practice improving those targeted areas.
If you'd prefer social interaction, join online language exchange platforms or local conversation clubs if available. Practicing real-time conversations with peers or native speakers is unmatched for building quick reflexes in speech. It forces you to respond without lengthy internal deliberation, which is exactly what we want for fluency.
Yes, and we can't ignore immersion. Watching English TV shows, YouTube channels, or listening to podcasts where speakers naturally talk at a faster pace gradually trains your ear. You begin to anticipate how words meld together, where the speaker's tone shifts, and what typical contractions or phrases come up frequently.
If it feels overwhelming at first, slow down the playback speed or use subtitles to ease your way in. Then remove them as you adjust. Over time, your brain adapts to the normal tempo. When you're ready, challenge yourself by shadowing those videos to replicate the speaker's quick, fluid style.
All of these suggestions help build both speed and comfort. Once you have a consistent routine, maybe 15 minutes of reading aloud in the morning, some voice journaling after work, and a weekly online conversation group, your progress can skyrocket. The key is repetition and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone.
So true, and you'll notice that your ability to retrieve vocabulary faster will improve as well. Speaking quickly doesn't mean you sacrifice using richer language. In fact, as your confidence grows, you'll find you can incorporate more advanced words because you're less fixated on building sentences slowly.
Let's emphasize that it's not about being hyper-fast like a radio commercial, but rather achieving a brisk, fluent pace that feels comfortable for both you and your audience. People should never feel they have to strain to understand you. A moderate fast speed can maintain engagement and show your competence.
Exactly. Also, keep in mind that context matters. If you're giving a presentation about complex data, you might need to speak a bit slower for clarity. If you're chatting casually with friends, a faster, more relaxed pace can be perfectly appropriate. Adjusting your tempo based on the situation is essential.
Let's recap our major talking points so far. We've discussed the psychological reasons why faster speech can be associated with confidence and persuasion. We've also identified common barriers like overthinking, fear of mistakes, pronunciation difficulties, and a lack of memorized phrases, all of which hinder rapid articulation.
Right, and we've introduced practical strategies like thinking directly in English, shadowing native clips, adopting contractions, and memorizing common patterns. We emphasized daily speaking exercises such as the 30-second challenge, speed reading, and quick response games to push your pace. Finally, we covered how to avoid typical pitfalls like excessive fillers.
Yes, we also offered suggestions for applying these methods in day-to-day life, like voice journaling, narrating routine tasks, and immersing yourself in fast English content. Now, we'd like to provide an extended checklist of essential exercises that our listeners can adopt right away.
Certainly, here are some clear steps. 1. 30-second or 1-minute challenges on random topics. 2. Speed reading practice from news articles. 3. Shadowing short podcast or video clips daily. 4. Recording voice notes and playing them back for self-evaluation. 5. Engaging in fast response games with friends or classmates.
6. Storytelling with random words for creative fluency. 7. Gradual immersion using media at normal or slightly accelerated speeds. 8. Consistent practice in real-life contexts, like online language exchanges. 9. Maintaining expressive intonation and avoiding monotone rush. 10. Trusting that small pauses can be powerful, rather than stuffing them with
We hope this list is comprehensive enough for a strong starting point. Once again, you are tuned into learnenglishpodcast.com, and we're delighted to guide you on your journey. Our main goal is to make your English speaking not only faster, but also more confident, natural, and compelling.
Yes, and we should expand on how to sound smart, which goes beyond speed. A well-timed pause can emphasize a point more effectively than rambling. Strategic word choices lend weight to your speech. Varying tone shows that you're actively involved in the conversation rather than just blurting out sentences.
Exactly. If you want to really impress people with your intellect, focus on clarity of thought. Even if you're speaking at a quicker clip, ensure that each sentence conveys substance. Stringing together meaningless phrases at lightning speed won't fool anyone. Substance delivered swiftly is what truly resonates.
A good approach is to prepare or rehearse certain key phrases or transitions, especially if you anticipate a formal event like a job interview or presentation. That way, your brain accesses them instantly. It makes you sound both fast and thoroughly prepared, boosting your confidence in the process.
Yes, and keep using advanced but appropriate vocabulary. Don't force overly complex terms if you're unsure about them. It's always better to deliver a moderate advanced word correctly and confidently than to misuse a fancy word. Choose language that is accurate and relevant, not just impressive on the surface.
Let's also remember that listening actively to your conversational partner conveys intelligence. If you're just speed talking without letting others interject, it might come off as arrogant. Pacing your speech with thoughtful listening cues, like, "That's an interesting point," or "I see what you mean," shows maturity and fosters better interactions.
Now, for those who may have joined late, we want to give you the essential principles. Speed arises from direct thinking in English, using contractions, memorizing patterns, and practicing regularly. Stay aware of pitfalls such as slurred speech, filler words, and lack of clear intonation. That's the blueprint for success.
Exactly. I'll extend that blueprint a bit. Overcome fear of mistakes by accepting that errors are part of the journey. Don't translate in your head. Embrace exercises like shadowing, speed reading, and quick response games. Use short pauses instead of flooding your speech with, Cultivate a natural rhythm and melody.
Let's also remind everyone that the journey takes time. It might feel awkward initially to push your speed or adopt contractions, but keep going, trust the process, and track your improvements. The day you realize you've been talking to a native speaker without pausing is the day you'll appreciate your effort.
We truly hope these guidelines ignite your motivation. Remember, you're still listening to LearnEnglishPodcast.com, your go-to platform for systematic guidance on speaking English better and faster. Our mission is to foster an active, supportive learning environment where you can flourish and see tangible progress.
In a moment, we'll list out the main ideas and keywords once more so that anyone can review them or send them to friends. We believe a concise summary helps learners solidify everything. We encourage you to keep practicing every day and share your milestones with fellow learners.
Before we do that, let's invite you to subscribe. Join our channel, LearnEnglishPodcast.com, to stay updated on new episodes about pronunciation hacks, vocabulary expansion, mindset tips, and more. With consistent follow-through, you'll see remarkable growth in your English fluency and ability to speak confidently at any speed.
Absolutely. Now, let's compile all our crucial keywords and main ideas: overthinking, fear of mistakes, pronunciation hurdles, using contractions, memorizing common patterns, shadowing, 30-second challenge, speed reading, think fast, speak fast, storytelling with random words, pauses, intonation, filler words, consistent practice, immersion, and adjusting tempo.
Yes, and to further encapsulate everything, achieving a balanced, fast speech means maintaining clarity, incorporating natural phrasing, avoiding monotony, placing strategic pauses, and retaining the English music. Thinking in English helps you skip mental translations, while real-life exercises train you to respond swiftly with minimal hesitation or doubt.
Also, sounding smart doesn't mean stuffing your sentences with overly complicated vocabulary. It means using a well-chosen mix of everyday expressions, intermediate to advanced words, and clear structures. Speed amplifies your credibility only when it's paired with coherence, substance, and a pleasant flow that engages listeners throughout the conversation.
We've emphasized daily routines like voice journaling or reading aloud, plus fun group activities like random topic challenges to keep practice lively. We want you to stay motivated, keep pushing your limits, and remember that improvement happens incrementally. Even 5 minutes of purposeful training each day can transform your fluency over time.
Thank you for staying with us until the end of today's episode at LearnEnglishPodcast.com. We hope we've empowered you to speak more rapidly and effectively. Be sure to subscribe and share these tips with fellow learners. Together, we'll make English mastery a smooth, enjoyable, and rewarding adventure.